King Charles is headed to Washington next week for 4 days of pomp, ceremony, and some high political drama. The royal visit comes at a time of some tension between the U.S. and the U.K. The trip is at the direction of the British government, a government U.S. President Donald Trump has repeatedly criticized, most recently for lack of involvement in the war with Iran. The visit is billed as an effort to mark the 250th anniversary of American independence, and it will come under intense scrutiny, particularly as King Charles is scheduled to make 2 speeches. So what can we expect from this sensitive state visit? Joining us to discuss is Carolyn Harris. She is royal commentator and historian. Carolyn, it's good to have you on the program in advance of Monday. I mean, I think there's a lot of anticipation for this visit, and I'm sure you've given it a lot of thought.
Yes, there's going to be a great deal of scrutiny of this particular visit because the Anglo-American relationship is under strain. Where we've seen past royal state visits to the United States, the United Kingdom and the United States have been getting along very well. But at this time, there's a lot of tension between President Donald Trump and British Prime Minister Keir Starmer. So there's going to be a lot of interest in this tour as it's happening at a very delicate diplomatic time.
I think the hope is that this can somehow reset things. But I know Donald Trump is an unpopular figure within the United Kingdom. How do you think King Charles is approaching this visit? Obviously keeping that in mind.
I think King Charles is going to look for opportunities to connect with President Trump without discussing politics. As King Charles is a constitutional monarch, he needs to personify the British state while remaining above politics. So Queen Elizabeth II was able to find ways to connect with American President Donald Trump by referencing how they both had Scottish mothers and they both owned land in Scotland, Balmoral Castle in the case of the royal family, and golf courses in the case of Donald Trump. So we're going to see King Charles III trying to find ways to build a personal rapport, knowing that President Trump is a great admirer of the royal family, even though he's critical of the British Prime Minister at this time.
He is definitely, we know this, he is a fan of the royal family. In fact, he has called King Charles a fantastic man. Any insight into this relationship between the two?
Yes, it's very clear that the American President Donald Trump enjoys the pomp and circumstance of royal visits, and having a rapport with royalty provides a kind of legitimacy for his own governance, that he's receiving this international recognition. So it's clear that President Trump not only likes King Charles III personally, but he also likes what the royal family symbolizes: continuity and stability at a time when there has been a great deal of instability in terms of American foreign policy.
You say that he's likely to try and find common interests that they can discuss that are outside of politics. I mean, it would seemingly be very difficult given the kind of political headlines that are out there. Among them, preliminary reports suggesting the U.S. is viewing support for the sovereignty of the Falkland Islands, which I think is an issue that's pretty important to people in the U.K. What do you think, or how do you think King Charles navigates that?
Well, that's going to be an issue that King Charles will not be eager to discuss, as it intersects with the royal family, that back when he was Prince Andrew Mountbatten Windsor served in the Falklands War. That was back when he was popular instead of in disgrace. And British sovereignty over the Falklands seemed to be clearly established following the Falklands War. So for President Trump to be reopening that particular issue and growing closer to Argentina, we can see that this is an issue that is for the British Prime Minister to resolve with the American president. That King Charles III and Queen Camilla are going to be focusing more on the history of the Anglo-American relationship, the connection between the two peoples, British and American, and all of the cultural links such as the literary links that are going to be highlighted by Queen Camilla as she showcases authors from both countries. So there's going to be an effort by the King and Queen to step back from the relationship between the two governments, British and American, which has become quite fractious in recent months, and instead focus on that longer history and all of the cultural and social links that exist between the United Kingdom and the United States.
What does success look like?
Success would look like the American president backing off on some of this incendiary language towards the United Kingdom. Trump has made all sorts of comments about Keir Starmer, saying that he's no Churchill, he's a disappointment. And so the hope is that this visit helps to reset relations between the United Kingdom and the United States, reminding the American government and the American people of this very long history of cooperation between the United States and the United Kingdom through 2 world wars, through to the present day.
Carolyn Harris, royal commentator and historian. Thank you.
Thank you.